I mean, it was really profound for me because I got to pull together all of the inner work and the energetic work, but then bringing it in with like, here's how you manage your money.
Yeah.
Here's how you save for taxes. Definitely guided my life. It really woke me up to myself and to like give myself permission to like be more of who I really am.
But that's what it's all about though, is being truly who you truly
to
are.
your soul. Money is important. And look, I always say like, even though I'm a money teacher, I'm not like the perfect person with money. I'm not the richest person in the room, but I know how to care for money and I know how to be in relationship with money. And that's something when I was younger that I really struggled with. I didn't know how to be in relationship with money. And what I find is that a lot of women don't, even if they're making lots. The first thing is you need to know what your money's doing.
Welcome back to the Mapuana Reed Show. Today I got my girl Natalia Benson with us. We are going to dive deep into astrology, money, mediumship, all the wonderful things. Get ready for this episode. It's going to be so good. Welcome to the show, my friend. I'm just so happy you're here.
Thank you.
I want to go down. There's something that I call the job. So journey on becoming. So take me on your journey on becoming Natalia Benson.
Oh my God, I love this question. Well, to put it very, very simply, well, I'm from here. So I'm from Arizona, born and raised. A lot of people ask me if like my parents were like super spiritual, and I'm like, LOL, no. I'm like, my mom worked in like corporate America and my dad was a CPA, like the most left brain person of all time. But my grandparents were super soulful. And, you know, growing up here and being close to the desert was always very special. I have like a deep affinity for the desert. I feel very centered here, even though it's so warm, but I love it. And my grandparents really exposed me to like spirituality, but they also really exposed me. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, and my grandma, she was a Taurus, and she was just a very, again, like soulful but grounded human being. She taught me how to meditate when I was like 5 years old. Like that's one of my early memories, being with her at her home. She exposed me to art. My grandpa, he used to take me to the mall and he'd say, okay, I'm going to give you like $50 to go to the mall. But before we go, you have to watch a personal finance video. I was like 11 or 10 or
You're like,
9.
let me teach you about taxes really quick.
Literally, and I remember sitting in the dark of his office and I was like, so bored, and he was just sitting in the dark watching the video, like just because they knew that one day it would all land. And you know, I started my first business when I was 19 years old. Had it for 7-8 years. I wouldn't say it was ever like successful, but I did live off of it. Like,
what type of business?
It was a jewelry line. I handmade my own jewelry. I made like my own brand, and that was kind of my first experience of that, of like creating a personal brand and then selling things like on, you know, my own volition. And I wove in my affinity for spirituality with that. And I was just, it was kind of funny because I was like known for these hoops that I made. Like people would be like, oh, are those Natalia Benson? Are those Natalia? So it's just, that was kind of my first sort of journey with all of that. But all the while I had that business, I was always studying astrology. I was doing tarot. And when I turned, I think I was maybe like 28 or 29, I was like, I'm so freaking tired of being broke. Like I made some money doing the jewelry. I wish I'd known all the powerful women we know now. I would have sold the business. Everyone I know, they're like, yeah, I had this business for 2 years. I sold it. I was like, I could have sold that darn jewelry line. But anyhow, it's in the rear view. Everything always makes sense. But you know, it's interesting because when I was about 28, 29, I just sat down with myself and I was like, I'm going to teach you how to become wealthy. I'm going to teach you how to become a millionaire. I'm not there yet, but I was like, I want to get good with money. I'm so sick of living like this. And so what I did is I sat down with myself every Tuesday afternoon and I read Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And I had a mentor, I forget his name. He was a Virgo. He gave me that book like 6 years earlier and I never read it.
Wow.
And you know, actually to give it to me, he goes, you need to buy it. He goes, you need to buy it yourself. He goes, it's a penny on whatever we were buying books on back then. And I never read it because I think deep down I knew it was going to change my life. And then a couple years later, I sat down and I read it, ended up going to a seminar that just transformed me. First time I went, too good to be true, totally sabotaged, left early. But then 9 months later, I was in the same predicament. I could barely keep money in my bank account. I was just scared of money. And I was like, I'm freaking over this. I went back again. I did all the dances. I sang all the songs. Because it's like, now that I teach all this stuff, I'm like, God, all that stuff was so weird. And now I'm just like, this is like what I do. Because it really does help you break through and get out of your comfort zone. And that seminar, I think I was about 31 years old. And that was really where I pulled together like all the spirituality. Because in my 20s, I was like yoga teacher trainings and meditating and doing all the woo things, but I really didn't know how to take care of my life. And by the time I turned 31 and I made that decision to really go all in, I mean, it was really profound for me because I got to pull together all of the inner work and the energetic work, but then bringing it in with like, here's how you manage your money. Here's how you save for taxes. Like, and that's how everything came together for me. It's like, it took a long time to become this for sure. And I've had the iteration of my business that I have now for about 6 or 7 years. But it's, that's, the business side, but the mediumship and like who I am as a woman, like there's obviously so much nuance, but I'm sure we'll get into all of it. But that's really the backstory of, cause something that I'm so proud of with my work is, I know what it's like to be really sensitive and empathetic and just kind of feel like the world isn't totally for you. And to have like a guide or an intermediary is a really deep gift. So I like to bring that in my work, that softness, but just like you need to take care of your life. Just like my grandparents told me, like, they're like, we can go to the mall with your $50 allowance, but like you need to take care of your life and like understand the value of what it is that you're doing. So that's really I've never told that so succinctly before.
No, but it's so good though, because we do need both. But a lot of people don't think about mixing the both. I think sometimes when they think of the woo-woo side, it's just like, it'll all work out and we'll figure it out. But sometimes it doesn't. Like you need to have the backbone of it, and we need money to survive.
We do. Money is important. And look, I always say like, even though I'm a money teacher, I'm not like the perfect person with money. I'm not the richest person in the room, but I know how to care for money and I know how to be in relationship with money. And that's something when I was younger that I really struggled with. I didn't know how to be in relationship with money. And what I find is that a lot of women don't, even if they're making lots or they're making a little and they're not at their earning potential just yet. Being in relationship with money, it's just like any relationship. Nothing's perfect about it, but there's ways to get better at it. And that's really what that's what I'm all about.
What are some ways to strengthen your relationship with money? Like if you were to say like maybe top 5 or top 4 ways.
I mean, the first thing is you need to know what your money's doing. Like I remember when I was, this was probably, how old was I? Maybe 30 years old. So it was before I had that big money breakthrough and I learned money management and all that good stuff. But I would honestly say that, I remember I was like rowing at the gym, like manifesting on the row machine, like a total weirdo, but this is my life. And I was like, I'm going to make 5K a month. I'm done being broke. And when I sat down and tracked my money, because I was doing a lot of astrology stuff, I had a corporate job, like I had a bunch of things going on. I was already making that much, but I had no idea because I didn't have any kind of relationship to tracking it. So first thing I would say is track your money, get intimate with it. So something I like advise my women to do is like open your bank account, take a deep breath, like bring your matcha, light a candle, and just look at what your money's doing. Look at how much is coming in. And then also look at what you're spending on. Another tool that I teach that I think is really powerful, I always tell my gals, I'm like, don't let your eyes glaze over when I say this, because this will change your life. But it's basically like multi bank account management.
Okay.
So basically what you do is you have a bank account that has a job. So if you have a deposit account, that means that deposits go into that account. If you have a weekly spending account, that's like your budget account. And you give yourself like an allowance, so to speak, for the week. You have a business operating expenses account. It's especially important for business owners. You need to have the separation between like the business and the personal. Our accountants always appreciate that, as does the IRS. So there's ways to be, you know, organized on your own with that. And then I would also say from like the energetic side, you know, focus on your money, like meditate on it. I actually have a really dear friend. He's a hypnotherapist. His name is Leo Max, and he came and spoke in my membership once. And he literally said, you know, sit down and do Ho'oponopono with your bank account.
I never thought about that.
And he goes, because he tells this story publicly, so I'm happy to share it, but he basically had an issue a couple years ago, I believe with the IRS. Like, it was very stressful, whole lot of stuff going on. And he was like, finally, I just sat down and I did Ho'oponopono with my bank account every single day, and Ho'oponopono with my money. And I did that for a while, because sometimes we don't realize, like, we're in energetic relationship literally with everything. I forget that, because especially the things I have like wounds around, like I'll forget to be in energetic relationship with it because I'm so in my stories or my patternings around it. And that's how it is with a lot of, I would say, many people with money. Money is very emotional, whether we're aware of it or not. It's a highly emotional topic. So when we can sit with it like presently and just be like, okay, this is something I'm in an energetic relationship with, we can shift it. So let me see.
It's so interesting though, because like for us in our culture, Ho'oponopono, we never do think of it. Well, because money never existed in our culture. We didn't have money. We had like tapa and stuff like that. And we would trade things. Like we would trade, like if someone lived in the mountains, they would come down the mountains and trade with a fisherman and stuff like that. But so money never really existed. But I think having Ho'oponopono with your money relationship and being pono with it is, I never thought of that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's so beautiful that just came through,
that
I thought to share that with you.
Oh my gosh, that's like so crazy.
Yeah, because I read the book about, I think, Hugh Len, who was the famous, he was like a psychotherapist. He was Hawaiian, and he healed this entire ward of like mentally ill prisoners, essentially, just by doing Ho'oponopono with their files. He never met them.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's I get chills every time I tell that story. It's so beautiful. So and I think it's a good reminder, right? And to be in energetic relationship with something that maybe troubles us at times.
So interesting. Yeah, so cool. I'm gonna do that.
Okay, let me know how it goes.
I'm gonna be very pono with my money. Now that when I'm spending it, I'm like, okay, let me, Wow. Okay. Okay, so what else? You got the podcast also. Well, tell me all the things you got going on. So you got that going on. You got podcast.
Yes, the podcast. I've had that for about 6 years. I took a year break because last year was like, one of the hardest years of my life on this earth. Like really the last, it was a tough year. So, and it was weird because I had a feeling to like let go of the podcast for a little bit. I just was so resistant to it. And finally I like cried. I cry a lot. I'm definitely a very emotional person, but I cried because I was like, you guys, I'm so sorry, but like, I can't do this right now. And I don't know why, but I need to step away from it. And I'm so grateful that I did, because the amount of growth, losing my father, I had to heal from like mold exposure, and I did a round of IVF, which I freaking did not like. It was very hard on my body. And then, and then I got divorced as well. So it's just like, okay, how many things could happen in a year? But then it's funny because I came back to the podcast and my women were like, dang, you are more dropped in than we've ever experienced you, because a lot of my babes have been with me for a long time, so they've seen me go through so much growth. So I'm so happy to be back with the podcast. I feel so much more expressed in it. And less people pleasing. I feel like people pleasing has come up in my business like a lot. Anyways, not that you asked that, babe, but anyhow. So podcast, I have my membership, and I'm like opening a couple of new one-to-one containers that I'm really excited about. But the membership is she's my
She's your
She's my
baby.
favorite. She's my
Yeah.
bestie. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love my women in there. It's a
Nice.
really special community.
Yeah.
And I'm just so passionate about the money organization piece. Like,
Okay.
I just decided recently to stop leading with astrology so much in my work.
Okay.
I will always talk about astrology. It's a tool that I use. But I realized, again, speaking of people pleasing, I was very people pleasy with the
Yeah.
astrology. I was like, well, this is what everyone wants from me. But I was like, I don't want to lead with this
Yeah.
anymore. I'm so passionate about life habits and how we can use astrology and reflection of those habits. But, in addition to that, like the financial organization stuff
Yeah.
is just so important to me. So
That's
yeah,
so, you make it sound so sexy. Like, like,
I live for that.
yeah.
That's my favorite. Actually, Marissa.
Yes. Love her.
Yes, she
Yes.
had me on the pod and I was like, it's sexy and fun to do your money organization.
Totally.
She was like, I've never thought of money as sexy and fun. And I was like, let's
Girl,
make
you're
it sexy
giving
and
all
fun.
of us, like, I never thought to have Ho'oponopono with my money versus never thought of it as sexy and fun. Like, bring it on.
This is the best. Well, and it's so funny too, because I just feel, I feel just so grateful to be able to like bring that. I'm just like a little BB
Yes.
idea factory. I'm just like,
Yeah.
but always in conversation is usually where things really come through for me.
Yeah.
How to do it differently or do it in a new way.
Yeah. Let's talk about your mediumship. Okay, when did that start? Because that just recently started, right? You started tapping in.
Yeah, that's a very new thing. I mean, I'm sure you've had this in your life, babe, where you're just like, why do I care about this all of a sudden? You're just
Yeah.
like, why does this? And usually it's like preparing us for something, whether
Yeah.
it's a challenging thing or it's a really positive thing, which I believe there's always positives in the challenges. But, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2023, I will spare you the long, arduous story, but essentially I just got burnt to a crisp, hadn't let myself get sick in years, let myself get sick. And while I was resting, I was just watching like Tyler Henry, Hollywood
Yes.
Medium.
Yes.
I
I like
pure
binge
joy.
watched that one.
Oh my
it was
God.
so
like,
good.
Cry happy tears
Yes.
every time. He's so special.
Yeah.
And a long story short, I'm literally listening. I'm sorry, I'm watching him on YouTube while I'm resting, like getting better. And all it said was like mediumship. Get a book on it, my internal voice. And I realized that's how my guides communicate with me. They're very funny, they're very quippy, and they're very straight to the point. So they've communicated with me like that throughout my life. I just maybe always thought it was just a thought I was having, but really that communication feels much different and it sounds much different too. So I basically got a book called Magical Mediumship and I started reading it.
Yeah.
And I usually have like pretty intense ADHD. Like if
Oh,
I
that's me.
don't like something or I'm like not available for it,
Yeah.
oh my God, try to get me to pay attention.
Like I don't know a word you said. I don't know a word that I just read.
Yes.
Any of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'll literally be like, oh my God, I just like skimmed through like 3 pages and I'm
Same.
like, my reading comprehension's
Yeah.
like out the door.
Yeah.
But no, it was really special because, at the end of the day, when I read that book, I just felt like something wake up in me. Like I was just like, oh my God, this is super important for me. And I don't completely know why yet. And I started watching a lot of Tyler Henry, a lot of Teresa Caputo, and I just found myself being comforted by it. And then I started watching a lot of near-death experiencers on YouTube, like people who have clinically crossed over. And they come back and they tell these stories about how they died and what they experienced. And everyone's experience is so beautiful and different. And some people see Jesus, some people talk to God, some people just see their ancestors or their guides. And it's just so profoundly beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I so into this? Like, what is going on? And little did I know it was preparing me for my dad's death and to lose my dad. So that really prepared me to have, I think, a much different experience of grief, which I'm very grateful for. It doesn't mean that I don't still grieve, but it's different because I inundated my mind to become and to open my mediumship abilities. And I believe that actually everyone has like mediumship abilities. I really do feel that. And I witness that because there's no reason why I should really have this. I wasn't one of those people when I was younger who was like communicating with
Yeah.
spirits or anything like that. I definitely had some metaphysical paranormal experiences when I was younger, but I think most people do because we're more open and we're more available. And I feel like even like in your culture, there's such a beautiful relationship to like, that there's more than just this physical life. And my grandparents really were, like I said, quite spiritual. My grandmother especially. So she really got me. She's like, I talk to my bubby every day. She's like, yes, she's not physically here, but I always communicate with her. And so I was kind of exposed to that, which I think made it a bit easier. And I also wasn't really raised with any kind of religion either. So it just kind of made the mediumship be like, sure, I'll give it a whirl. Like, let's see what goes on. But I was sitting at a restaurant in Los Angeles and my videographer looks at me and she goes, you want to practice on me? And I was like, Madison, I have never done a reading. I was like, I've just been reading a book and like watching all these Tyler Henry videos. She goes, just try. Okay. And so I leaned back in my chair. We're in this busy restaurant in the middle of LA. And essentially I brought through her grandfather, Earl. And what the most profound part about it that I just think was so amazing is I said, does your mother have a walk-in closet? This is like the stuff that comes up in mediumship where you're like, you just ask the most, like, you could be embarrassed if you were just in a normal conversation. So I was like, does your mom have a walk-in closet? She goes, I have no idea. I go, well, your grandpa is like showing me that he communicates with her there. I was like, so there's some sort of connection point. And she goes, okay, like I'll ask my mom. So 3 weeks later, I wake up and I check my phone and she goes, Natalia, she goes, my mom and my sister are so grateful that you brought through Grandpa Earl. And when I went home to visit my mom, she walked out of her walk-in closet with a little altar, and the only thing on it was a photo of my Grandpa Earl, and she said, that is where she talks to him.
Oh my God.
And it gives me chills. And I set my phone down and I cried because I was like, okay, I think I can do this. Like, it really gave me like a confidence. And like I mentioned, I've been moving through a lot, so I can't say I've been as available. I was doing a lot of practice sessions for about a year, but I kind of recently have stepped back just to calibrate some other things and give the business a lot of love because I just let my business really support me in the last year. But the mediumship piece has been a gift to me because it's healing. Seeing other people experience and recognize that their loved ones, like there's no separation. No. And even my own dad, like he communicates with me a lot, and especially if I'm in meditation or I go really deep in like a healing session or I'm at a show with classical music, like it's so cool how close he is. And he always says that to me, I'm so close, I'm so close, I'm so close. That's like what he says. And so that the mediumship is special and I love it. And it's really like quite a magnificent thing to share because I think my fear more than anything was loss and death. So then to kind of conquer that and just be like, okay, there's more.
Like he's still here. He's still around.
Yes, exactly. It's been so beautiful.
Wow. And so are you taking readings? Like people can book with you a reading or?
Not right now. So I've been doing free sessions now for about, I'd say like a little over a year and a half. I started on the spring equinox last year. Okay. So I'm taking a little pause from my practice readings right now, but I'll get back to them. I kind of have been calibrating of like, how does this want to fit into my work? And sometimes that's just up to like God universe. Like, I don't freaking know, like, I'm just like, okay, like, I think this is important and I get inspired by it. But I was also paying a lot of attention to that stuff in a season where I really needed it, you know? And I think right now I'm being called in another direction. And that's okay for now. But I was joking with a friend the other day. I was like, I feel like when I'm like older, I'll be like just a full blown. That's like what I'll do.
Right. Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? I'm open and available for what the path is, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You got that's so wonderful. Yeah.
I'm such a Manny Jen. Do you know your human design?
Okay. So I learned that when that first time we were all together. Yeah. I was telling Ali, I've never heard of I've never heard of human design.
Oh,
ever until that one day. And then, so I'm a manifesting generator, 5/1.
Cool.
But I don't know what all that means. Too. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So we have like multi-passionate is like our thing. Yeah. So that's why when people talk to me, they're like, so money, so you're a medium, so you're an astrologer, so you're into fashion. I'm like, we're like all the things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what though? It feels so comforting knowing your human design now, because I think before, like I was telling Alia, like I just felt like I was jack of all trades. And it felt like,
And
oh, I like
people,
this and then I want to do that and I want to do
yes,
this business and I want to do that business. But now with human design, it's like that's how I'm designed. This is what I'm
exactly.
supposed to be
Yeah,
doing.
it's like that's the gift I think of like
Yeah.
astrology and human design and these systems is like it really does remind you like it is safe to be who you are.
Totally.
It's
Yeah.
safe to be who you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So astrology, human design, what's the difference?
So I'm not crazily versed on human design. I
Okay.
literally know that I'm a Manny-Gen and I know
Okay.
like a little bit to be dangerous, but essentially like what they say is that astrology sort of is the precursor for human design.
Okay.
Human design uses lots of different systems. So it's like the
Oh.
I Ching, astrology, I mean, all these other things that I
Okay.
don't even know. And essentially, the man that channeled it, he actually channeled it the year I was born, which was cool.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that was also the year of the harmonic convergence. So there must have been some cool things
Something
going
going
on in
on.
1987.
Yeah.
But essentially, he channeled the whole thing. And it's basically like the synthesis of all these different systems. But whenever I hear it, like I have a best friend who is just a remarkable human design teacher. Her name is Erin Claire. And she and I like have fun geeking out and being like, okay, like how does human design, if someone has this, like where could that kind of tie together in their astrology? So we've had a lot of conversations about that because it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
know.
And let's talk about astrology.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Like, I
That's
don't
a
know.
big, that's
Okay.
a big subject.
Okay. So like, me, I'm a Taurus.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're such a Taurus. That's why I feel so good with you. I love Taurian women. I'm always like, oh, I just feel so safe and seen.
Oh.
So I say that the archetype for Taurus
Okay.
is the grounded sensualist. And the reason I say that is because Taurus is fixed earth. So you are like the most steady of the signs. Fixed energy is very fixed, it's very powerful. And earth is like, yeah, earth, 3D reality. So fixed, all of the different earth signs have a different modality. So there's fixed earth, there is cardinal earth, and there's mutable earth. And that
I never
gives,
heard of that.
yeah, I love the quadruplicities. That's like a cool part of astrology. And I hear a lot of like quadruplicity stuff in human design. So
Okay.
that's kind of a cool translation, I think,
Yeah.
of just like understanding that a bit better. And but with astrology, like, or with Taurians, you are also ruled by Venus.
Okay.
And so Venus is like this sensuous, magnetic, like aesthetic, like very much about beauty, very much about care. And so that sort of confluence between that really fixed earth energy and then the beauty and the feminine nature of Venus coming together. That's why I always call the archetype of Taurus like the grounded sensualist, because you're very grounded, but you're of the senses and you know how to be present with people and create. And it's really beautiful. I mean, babe, look what you've done. And like, you made a decision and you were like,
I'm out.
I'm going to do it the best. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Taurians are very like hard workers when they want to be. Like when you care about something, like you will outwork everyone over time.
I become like fully obsessed. Like I
Yes.
could do it like 2 a.m. Like if I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still so obsessed about this. I want to go start creating. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. Yeah, so astrology is cool. I mean, it's definitely guided my life. It really like woke me up to myself. Just again to like give myself permission to like be more of who I really am.
But that's what it's all about though, is being truly who you truly
to
are.
your soul. Like that's something I teach, you know, to my women so much. Is a big conversation in the membership, because I just feel like we get, you know, and this is a big thing that comes up in human design actually, of just like we can all really be a product of our programming versus like a product of choice of like or listening to who we are. And when we allow ourselves to be like more expressed and rooted in who we actually are, it's pretty amazing like to kind of see that when we follow our intuition, there is so much that we can create and do. And I think that astrology is one of those things where it's like you're like giving yourself permission. Yeah.
Let's
to
talk about
be who you are.
intuition.
Yeah. Oh my God. What about it?
So I know like I just mentioned this also in the previous episode, but like in our Hawaiian culture, we call it our na'au, so it's our gut, and like that's how like we follow our intuition and stuff, you know. But I think sometimes as women, sometimes we start to listen to others. And
Yes.
back to like the people pleasing and stuff like that. And we're like, well, let me, like in our gut, we kind of know sometimes what is true and what is not true. And yeah.
Yeah.
What is some advice for someone to learn how to tap into that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, intuition, it is a natural faculty of ours.
Yeah.
And when we can begin to decipher our thinking mind between how the heart communicates, I think that's when we get into like deeper resonance of like a natural knowing. But it's not easy. I mean, being human is fraught. It's like there's a lot going on. We get a lot of external stimulus, both in our individual lives, collective communication. There's a lot. And I think meditation is such like a powerful way to just sit with yourself, even if all you do is think the entire time.
See, meditation for me, sometimes like I'll go into meditation and because of my ADHD, I'll close my eyes, I'll start to breathe. And then my next thought is like, okay, what do I need to get from Costco?
Yeah.
What did I do the laundry? Did I put it in the dryer? I'm like, my brain is just all over the place with other things.
And that's okay. That's the meditation. It's like being with that.
Yeah.
And just knowing that with practice and over time, you strengthen it. It's a muscle. Right.
Okay.
And I
just go be with my Costco list for a little bit.
Yeah, go be with your Costco list. I mean, sometimes my meditations, I mean, I meditate first thing when I wake up. I just do it in bed.
Yeah.
I'm on like day 113 or something right now.
Okay,
I track it
tell
in
me your
Insight
process.
Timer.
Tell me like what, how do you?
I literally wake up, usually lately, like if I go to bed early, I wake up between like 6 and 7.
Okay.
And I essentially just like grab my phone, I put on Insight Timer and I meditate for 5 minutes and I just lay there.
Okay.
I kind of let it be the bridge between my sleeping and like my waking self. I, do prayer intention setting or just talking to the universe or God or whatever. And I just like let myself be there. And sometimes I'm full of thoughts and sometimes I'm full of resentments and sometimes I'm full of like what's going right or what I think is not working. And then sometimes I'm just quiet and I just let myself recall a dream or I just breathe or, you know what I mean? I just let myself be there with the simplicity of my breath and just laying there in my little human body and just being with myself. And as a Capricorn rising, I definitely like to track things. So tracking like with the meditation has like been so fun for me because I'm like, oh my God. I actually have to make sure I meditate today because I can't lose that streak. I would like.
You're like, I can't miss a date. You're on 113 today. Is that right?
Oh my God. I'd be so upset, honestly. I just like keep it going. Because once you get that far, you're just like, oh my God, this is thrilling. And it's so easy. It's just become like a non-issue because I just wake up and like turn on the meditation, turn on 5 minutes. But I mentioned that because I think that that's a really powerful way to strengthen the intuition because when you can be with your thoughts, your thinking mind is always going to talk to you in your human language. Yeah. But your intuition doesn't really communicate with you like that. It speaks differently. It speaks subtly. It speaks in knowing. It speaks in the gut. How do you say? The na'au. Yeah. It speaks in the gut. It speaks in the heart. Yeah. It doesn't use human language unless you really need to hear something. But, I've had premonitions before and different visions and things like that over time. And it's pretty interesting because it's like, oh my God, like there's like such a difference between those and the perennial feeling of them. Versus my thinking brain that's always talking to me about what the frick ever and like
worldly things.
And just like kind of seizing your attention and seizing your presence. But it's really, it just takes a little practice to be able to allow. And then most of all, to give yourself permission to trust. And sometimes also that can be like trauma work too.
That you have to work through. Yeah.
Yes, because a lot of times, whether it's through like our ancestral lines or our lived experience, like for many of us, like there have been moments in life or maybe seasons or long periods where we have been in a total state of survival and we're in our instincts and the ego mind becomes really strong because it needed to protect you and let you and help you get through whatever it is. That's why like when people try to demonize the ego and make it bad, I'm like, it's not bad. It's just you don't want it driving your car. You know what I mean? Like you want it more you want to be able to hear it. And like one thing that helps with the meditation to bring yourself back is just say thinking. It's like a pattern interrupt. So instead of being like, oh my God, I'm in my Costco list, or judging yourself for wanting to come out of the meditation, it's literally like, you know what? I'm thinking a thought right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come back to my breath. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
And you can meditate in so many ways. Sometimes walking is a meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strengthens the mind.
Do you have any like morning or evening rituals that you do daily? Like you do, so you wake up and then you do the meditation.
Yeah, I do. Like it's funny because like being a cardinal sign and having a lot of mutable energy in my chart, which is one of the quadruplicities, I like variation. So I like to, routine is extremely important to me. I need routine to like function in a healthy way.
Do you think that that's also because of the ADHD?
Yes, definitely.
Girl, yes, I need a routine so bad, because if I don't have a routine, I would just, girl, I'm off a whole different,
I can be like a little kooky about it sometimes, because sometimes I'm wanting to control, and it's a way for me to control things that maybe I feel out of control around. But I just really feel like, honestly, like I just love being in a routine. I just enjoy it. It's how I thrive. But sometimes I also realize it's good and healthy to be out of routine and be a little messy. So that one is not always easy for me, especially now, like being, single again and living by myself with my little 13-year-old dog. It's like Tootie girl, my tarot girl, but it's like, that's just how I run my life. It just feels good. But the morning is like, I wake up, I meditate for 5 minutes. I do 12-step work. So I'll go to a meeting and I just listen to like a speaker. And then I do like my self-care in the morning. So like I tongue scrape, I do like a lot of beauty things, gotta get this glisten, take care of the collagen, give us all your beauty secrets. Mapuana.
I don't got none. We need to ask Allie for
beauty,
those.
No kidding. Oh my God. The most beauty. But it's like, it's interesting because like I kind of just flow, but then, some mornings I want to journal. Some mornings I want to walk and like listen to nature, or go for a hike, or just be with the beach, or it just really depends. Like I do my best every day. I don't say prayer in the religious sense, but like, or the word God in the religious sense, but I just do my best to like talk to God every day and like surrender my ideas and get more into alignment with that universal creatrix kind of energy and let it show up in my life. And especially the places where like I struggle, I just ask for more of that even if I can't do anything, like even this morning, I needed to sleep in and I traveled yesterday, and I was like, I don't really have space to like sit down and do my journaling and my meditating and all the things, but I was like, that's okay. I'm just going to talk to like God today, and I'm just going to like ask questions and just ask for help on things, and like ask for the support to be present, like when I see people that I care about, or just people in the world. And so even that I think is just a beautiful ritual at bare min. And then I exercise pretty much every day. I do some form of movement. And then nighttime, it's also varied. Like I carry a lot of stress in my traps, so I have like a little massager that I use. I do legs up the wall. Sometimes I do castor oil packs. Like I definitely do a lot of stuff to like take care of my nervous system. Especially someone who's like, I've gone through a lot, especially when I was super young. So my nervous system is still calibrating. So just all the things I can do to just like all the things that all of us can do to care for our nervous systems, because that is like our experience of reality, and also the way like the patterning plays out in our lives all through the nervous system.
Because if your nervous system is out of whack, it's like, how do you operate every single day?
It's tough. It's tough.
It's like you're going out there in the world just frazzled.
And we're going through the same patterns like all the time. And I'm like, no, thank you. I'm an Aries. I like to be moving forward like at all times. So I'm just like, okay, what do I need to do to be moving forward? And so healing and caring for that part of my body and my physiology is so powerful. So very varied with my day to day, but there's always these little ley lines and through lines that ground me and like keep me in like a healthy way with myself. So,
I want to talk. I know I had questions. We didn't even get anywhere, but I don't even care. I'm just like,
every time questions come, I'm always like, we're going to off-road. So it's perfect.
Totally. I want to talk about mediumship again. Was there ever a time that it was a little scary? Like,
for sure.
Because how do you know if something's of the light or of the dark, so, sort of like it's
yes.
yeah.
So for me with mediumship, I've never feared that.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. But initially when I was communicating and just like I had a best friend who passed away. He was a mentor of mine. And I was talking to him one night and I told him to like send me a song.
Yes.
Well, he freaking did. And it scared the shit out of me right when I was going to sleep because
You're
he
like,
was
"Oh."
funny. Like he knew at that time how scared I was of the other side. I was very like almost borderline superstitious. Like I didn't like stuff like that.
Yeah.
This was, I didn't get to mention that, but this was not something I was available for. Like, and that's why like, even though, yes, mediumship is a gift, it absolutely, and I think that there are some people who just never turn off the ability, but I see it as an ability that we can work on. So for me, I was like, I have no reason because scary movies have scared the crap out of me and I don't like stuff like that. So it's been a really beautiful healing process. I actually made like a little audiobook about, or I called it an audio experience about my expression of mediumship and my thoughts about it and how I came to like unfold it because I think that really anyone can. And yeah, it was super fascinating because initially I was terrified and I wasn't available for it. But the more I studied it and the more I learned about it objectively, and especially watching really powerful mediums like Teresa and Tyler and hearing how they speak and what they say, you know, and going to mediums myself, I just was like, there is nothing to be afraid of because vibrationally I'm unavailable for it. It's just like how I am with humans. It's like if I am at like actually the first night I did my first mediumship session, I was in LA and I went to the gas station. It was kind of late. It was like 10:15. So not a time you want to like maybe always be out at a gas station, but I like needed gas. So, and I saw that there was this person, there's a lot of unhoused people in LA. There's a lot of mental illness. There's a lot going on there. And I got out of my car and I noticed this person who was like absolutely deranged. Well, I'm not going to go walk up to that person at 10:15 at night and like ask them a question.
Exactly.
I'm not going to interface because it's likely not safe and we wouldn't interact well.
Yeah.
So it's using that. I know that that sounds kind of funny, but it's like, it's the exact same with the unseen. It's like you choose what you interface with. Like, and you know, I've had times in my life where I was definitely, especially when I was like addicted to alcohol and drugs, like I had some pretty intense experiences because I was in an addictive place and I was a little more susceptible to like, let's say not only people like that in my life, but even like energies like that. I had one experience in at a house that I stayed at, but it wasn't, even though it was very frightening, it was also like, well, what do you expect? Like, that's kind of where I was at that time. And I had my dear friend Leo, when I had that experience with David, sending me that song before I went to sleep, because it scared the crap out of me. And I was literally, and that's when I was married, and I like was like, oh, thank God my husband's here, because I was like, if I was alone. But it was funny because he was like, Natalia, he goes, don't be afraid. He's like, you have such positive, caring, self-caring energy. You're not going to call in like lower forces.
Right.
Don't worry about it. You know, and people who try to tell you that you're just not sovereign, in my perspective, are incorrect. You are sovereign. You choose. If we communicate with the universe, it must respond to us. So communicate how you want to communicate. And so for me with mediumship, and I remember Teresa Caputo saying this once in a session, like my frequency and my intention and working with, like, you know, she's Catholic, ironically, which is kind of fascinating because she's like, yeah, a lot of people in my faith don't really get that I do this, but she's like, I work with like God's white light. And like, for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this to help people heal. Like when I step into a mediumship session and I'm communicating with my guides and with their guides and with the other side and with their ancestral line or whomever is there to communicate, I am clear. I clearly say what I'm looking for, and what I'm available for. It teaches you the depth of sovereignty. And and like scary movies, and I even think like maybe even a lot of belief systems try to tell you that you don't have access to that. That is not true. That's not how universal law works.
But I think fear, they put a lot of fear into it. They put
Well,
so much fear
yeah.
into it that if you dabble in this, then you, like these bad
Oh, I
spirits are
get
going to come
so
and all
many
that.
questions about that, especially from like the women in my membership. Like they've had questions of just like, you know, and a lot of it's because, they have had an upbringing where it was just said that if you do things like this, you're opening yourself up, and scary movies don't help. Like when I don't watch scary movies, I don't watch scary previews. I'll be in a restaurant and something on, I'm literally like shield my eyes. I won't expose myself because again, that's my sovereignty, and like I'm going to choose what it is that I want to be like available for. So it's really powerful stuff. But I love that question, and I love to give my expression of it because I think a lot of mediums look at that in their own way, which is really beautiful. But it is of so much love. Because even like when that's what the other side is. Here is the scary place. This is what's scary.
It very much is.
This is what's scary.
Yeah.
Like the other side, of course, there's higher dimension, there's lower dimensions, but it's none of it is inherently bad and none of it is inherently good. It's just vibrational energy and it's all frequency. That's how everything works. So, and the voice is powerful. So I hope that helps.
Oh, totally.
Dispel anything.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it so much.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you, girl. Like all the changes, all the wonderful things you're doing.
Thank you, babes. This was such an honor. Thank you so much. I had the best time. I don't want this to end.